Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you all are doing great. I'm doing okay. Today we're making a book, and we're going to be making a book out of envelopes. So first I want to show you that we made a book out of cards. So we used 5 cards. Now we're going to use those 5 card envelopes to make a book. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what I want to tell you is very important that you use a envelope that is the exact same size. Do not do like I did a couple of days ago and grab some envelopes. I've tried to stuff all my envelopes and cards in the same little location and ended up mixing up the envelopes. So 1 or 2 envelopes were not the right size. So I'm just going to go ahead and write F for front and B for back, okay? And then we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Now, this technique is nothing new. You've seen me do this before, but my friend does not like to do these, so I want to try and show you all how to do them so it's easy. You do need a little bit of patience. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the front and I want to wrap the front around the back versus the back being wrapped around the front. So you can take your envelope and put it either side you want. In this case, I'm going to do it to the open side. And right here, it should be at the 1/2 inch. It's kind of at the 1/2 inch mark. It opens out to the 1/2 inch mark. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it from the 1/2 inch. So we're going to make it go to the 1/2 inch just so it's easy for us to work on, right? So that's the 1/2 inch. And I'm just going to go back and recrease that line so we know that it's a 1/2 inch. And from the 1/2 inch line, what I'm going to do is I am just going to go over to the 3/4 line. I think that's long and wide enough to go to the 3/4 line. Now, we're going to take our back and do the exact same thing. So we're going to take our back and go from, now let me show you why we do that, okay? So you have your envelope, and then you have your back, right? Well, we don't have to do the back, but you need to put this crease onto this right here, okay? And the only reason why I'm going to do the crease on the back is because sometimes, even though I have it written down, I will still make the back the front and the front the back. So I just want it to be even. You don't have to do this step. I am just doing it because sometimes I end up jacking it up. Oh, goodness gracious. Make sure you have your paper down straight. Like this is crooked all of a sudden. So we're going to do the 1/2 inch. Alright, so the envelope lid does not want to fold properly. That's fine. We'll just come over. We'll find the 1/2 inch. Okay. Right there, the 1/2 inch. And 3/4. You know, you have to have patience in all crafting, not just chunky charm making. All right, so I just did that just in case, okay? So now we have our 3 insides, and normally what I do is cut these off, but today I won't cut them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take, again, my fold. I'm going to fold it on itself. You know, I always tell you to fold your folds on themselves so it's easier to see the crease. Or if you want to make a mark, you can make a mark. You don't even have to use envelopes, but we're using an envelope. We're using envelopes to make a book, so that is why we're doing it. Now, what I'm going to do is, you see in between the 1/2 mark and the 3/4 mark, you have 5/8, and that's where we're going to put our 1. Actually, it should be 2, because 3 and 1 will be sandwiching the 2. So we're going to take from our fold, our crease. We're going to make sure that it's on the crease line, and we're going to put 5/8, okay? So that would be 2 is the center one, so we have our 5/8 now. Just going to make this a nice crease, and then we will have to work this out. So we're going to go from our crease line, which is right here, okay? And we need to put a crease in between. So if you have your 1/2 mark, if we're working on our 1/2 mark, we need to put a crease in between 1/2 and 3/8, okay? So the only way you can actually do that without losing any of your mind is to take a pen, go to your half mark, look at 3/8, put a little notch, and then in between there you can put a notch, okay? Why is this important? So you can kind of have your envelopes evened out, okay? So we're just going to come over and put that crease right there. And it's not a huge crease, but it's enough to give you some wiggle room, okay? So we're just going to crease that out. And the same thing will go for here. So if you want to, you can butt these up. 1 and 3, you can butt them up together. Put them down on a line. Doesn't matter which line, because you just worry about your crease. And crease them together, okay? Now, sometimes what will happen is you will not crease it properly, and it'll look kind of funky. It doesn't matter. No one will know at the end, because you're going to make it look so amazingly fabulous that you don't have to worry about that. But we have our creases, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to come over and crease. You do not want to crease your natural crease that came with the envelope, but I only creased it to show you how to crease it. Does it make sense? So now what we're creasing is the new natural crease that we've created, not the original crease. All right, so it's creased down, and the same thing for number 3. Number 3 is going to give me a problem. I can tell that already, so I'm just going to try my best not to get mad at number 3. Fold it on over. Looks pretty dang good to me. We're going to put that down just like that, okay? And now we're going to come over and take the centerpiece, and we are going to fold it over. Today is Monday. Yep. I hear a lot of noise outside, so I'm like, oh, it's trash day. All right. All right. And then we have our front. Let's leave the back alone for now and just crease the front, okay? So now with us creasing the front, I like to make sure that it makes sense to me in my head. So we won't even mess with the back right now. We're going to take 2, pretend like we cut it. Now you don't have to cut it. You can if you like. No worries if you don't. And we're going to take 3. Now 3 and 1 should be cut because you're going to butt those right down on that crease, right? In that normal crease line, okay? So let me go ahead and cut those and show you what I mean. And first I want to come over here and share with you this front and back situation. So we have the front crease, because again we're going to be putting the front over the back, not the back over the front like I normally do. And this is off just a little, so I'm going to adjust it with my creasing or bone folder. You can see it's off a scotch. So I want to make sure it's not too ugly, right? All right. And there we go. You know, it's a lot of stuff you probably have in your home that you can craft with. All right, so we got our front, and this is the back. All right. So this is how I want it to look. All right. So right here, you see how I just told you we have to crease this? I don't want to crease it just yet, and I'll tell you why. If we crease it, it's not going to be the appropriate size yet. So now that we have our crease, now you can see that our crease for folder or front flaps over to the back, and the back is still its natural size, and we haven't adjusted this portion yet. So we're going to go ahead and glue this down. In this case, I am going to glue everything. Normally I tell you I only glue a certain part, but in this case we're going to glue everything down, and I'm going to use my Tumbo glue only because I need to allow myself a little bit of mistake, a little bit of wiggle room, okay? So, you know, if you have water, little spritz, you can put that on your lid and see if it's going to work out for you, if it's wet or not. I just use the glue, but, you know, you don't have to add a lot of glue like I just did, but I want it to be stable and sturdy. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our original crease for back and put it on our new crease from the front, okay? Can she find it is the question. Yes, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Stomach is grumbling. I haven't been eating a lot. Not as much as I normally would. Not that I'm trying to preserve or conserve food. I normally don't eat a lot when I get stressed and worried a lot. So I haven't been eating as much. So here we go. I just kind of want things to go back to normal. Whatever normal is for everyone. I really hope and pray that this is over sooner than later. Okay, so I have burnished down the glue. And that is the main goal, to get all this glue adhered and smudged across. So we're just going to do a little bit of rubbing up and down, side to side. And now we have our base, okay? So this is the most important part of any book, is the book cover, the base, okay? If you don't have a good base, you're in trouble. So now what we're going to do, and I say that because, you know, the insides can be kind of wonky, but the outsides cannot be wonky. You cannot make a wonky outside, because that's how you go from having everything else. So now we're going to come back and just recrease our gusset, which is what we have made, which is the spine. And now that we have our, I really dislike when I make my creases wrong the second time after I've creased everything down. Because if you screw up your creases the second time around, your book doesn't fold properly. So you got to keep that in mind when you're making your creases, okay? That's the important thing, to make sure you have a good gusset. If it doesn't fold properly, go back to your original crease and work on it from there. So we got our creases and they are there. And now what I want to do, I'm not too concerned about clipping that. I just want to make sure my creases are good, okay? You can clip that at the end. You can tuck it inside that little folder. No big deal. All right, you can always just shove it in here. So it will fit. It's the envelope. They're the same size. No big deal. There you go. But if you're like really concerned about it, then cut it off if you need to, or leave it alone. One of the two. I'm not too concerned about it. I'm more concerned about my creases, like I just said. All right. I sound like a broken record. I know. All right. So here we go. This crease is off a little bit at the top. And so we're going to work on that. I'll be right back. All right, so what I did, just in case you're wondering, I just took it close to my face and I just used my natural creaser, my thumb and forefinger, to crease it down. And there we have our spine, our book. Now, what we're going to do here is come back into the center, and I am going to cut these down. Now, I really caution you about cutting these, because if you screw it up, you're going to have some jacked up envelope. And, you know, that's not what you want. You want your envelopes to be good. But we've already creased this. So we're going to cut it right on our crease. And not be too worried about it. Now, you don't even have to crease these things if you have a good measuring on your scoreboard, on your paper trimmer. You don't have to look at it. You can just go and measure how you want it cut off and cut it like that. But I like to show you how to score it, just in case, because not everyone likes to cut their papers off. I just cut it because it makes it easier for me when I get ready to put it in the book versus not. So I'm trying to make sure this is a good stable cut, and I'm going to put on this line just to make sure that it's not too crooked. And it is a little bit crooked, but I am going to blame that on the envelope itself versus me. Okay, now what you're going to do, I know I didn't cut off envelope 2 yet, and I'll show you why. Okay, so we have our folder. See, like this one is probably too short. It's probably a little bit too short. That's okay, no problem. I want to make sure that when I put this down, it's in the middle, right? So it's in the middle. Yay for being in the middle. Okay, so I am going to glue that down. Before I glue it down, I want to make sure that it does not cascade out on this side. All right. So now, here we go. I'm going to use art glitter glue for this process. Wish me luck. And all I'm going to do is just glue down the gusset. No, I'm not going to remove the flap, and I'm going to show you why. Any project that you do, you can fix, okay? And so if you're concerned that your project looks crazy or weird, just keep working at it. Don't stop. And I'll tell you why. Did you ever have an awkward stage growing up? I know I did. I'm having an awkward stage now as an adult, so just keep that in mind, all right? Don't throw your projects in the trash just because they look crazy at the moment. So now what we're going to do, we have it glued down. And I put the art glitter glue versus the Tombow glue is because I need number 2, the middle piece, to be more stable and sturdy instantly versus letting it dry. And so now I'm just going to burnish this down because I do want that glue to adhere properly. All right. So now we have that, and we have our little sliver, which is not a problem. It's on the crease. I know that you're concerned. Don't be. Okay. So now we have 1 and 3. Now 1, I did pretty decent in getting it cut. 3, not so much. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our natural crease that came with the envelope, and we're just going to press that down. And that is why you need to fold your envelopes over on themselves, back and forward, not just the natural crease, because you see how skinny this is, how thin this is. We are concerned, we are concerned that it may not stick down, but I have a trick that we're going to talk about right now. This flap, okay? This flap is going to be our savior, at least for one of the envelopes. And if you really want to get snazzy, fazzy, chazzy, you can pull this flap back out from the other piece and you'll be good. So this is the back. I tell you, every time I always screw it up. Always trying to not do that. So now we have this, and again we are going to just put a sliver of art glitter glue down here, but we're also going to put some Tombow glue right here. So we're going to do the Tombow first because it dries less fast than the art glitter glue, and we will have secured 3 to the back, and we still have room in our gusset. Now section 1 we don't have a lot of room in, or 1, and that's okay. If you find that you don't have room, you can make room, or you can just omit that one. Depends on how many pages in your book you want to have. Now I want to work fast here because art glitter glue dries really quick, and right here I got that little smudge, so now it's gone and my fingers are starting to get icky. So I'm just coming back over and recreasing that really fast, and I'm just going to plop it down right here. Make sure that it's actually inside of there. It is inside. It came apart. That's okay. We're going to fix that right now. Okay. And then you're going to take your creaser, bone folder, and just going to rub it in. Rub it. And now it's re-secured to a flap. And we're going to turn this over. And right here is where we may have a little bit of issue, and that's okay. We're going to take our bone folder and fold it down on itself. And there we have our little book so far. Now, I really like to see my lines come out from the center. I don't see, you see how I have number 2 kind of right there? I don't really care for that. So what I'm going to do is make 2 1, and I'm going to burnish 3 down once more, just so that glue adheres to it really good, okay? And now, because remember I told you one had a little bit more glue on, paper on it, then 3, we should be good to go. So I'm just going to crease this back down once more. And I want to look at this again and make sure that 3 is not overhanging too much. And that is the reason why you create a new fold in your paper, because you have the crease, because the envelopes are all the same size. Your new crease that you create is where you're supposed to put that glue at. I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, so now we're going to put this in here just like this, just to see. And it looks great. It looks pretty, right? Looks good. So let's go ahead and glue that down, and we're going to use the art glitter glue only because we need it to dry quick. Okay. And I'm going to put it, I'm going to take a real walk on the wild side, and I'm going to put it right here. And I'll tell you why. I want to manipulate this a little bit once I get the paper on the paper, and I don't feel like I would be able to manipulate it as quickly on if I glued it down on the paper. Put the glue on the paper already. Hope that makes sense to you. You'll see. All right. I'm going to do this. And we're going to put it right there. Just like that. And I'm going to run my finger across the spots where I put the glue down. And this is what I meant by manipulating it versus putting it on. If I had put the glue in that exact spot, I would not be able to manipulate it at all. You see how I was able to adjust the paper because I put it right on that crease, so I'm able to move the paper. I feel like if I would have put it on the paper itself, I wouldn't be able to do that. So there you have it. I'm going to put this on here so the last little drops of glue that I have in here don't ooze out. And I'm going to go back to 1 now and just adjust. Okay. Now you see how it's kind of hanging out? It came apart because I didn't give it enough attention. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back and just put some more pressure right here. We're going to lay it flat. I'm going to rub it down, rub it down. The glue is still wet, or it's still able to adhere. So we're going to apply some pressure here. We're going to take our bone folder, move these out the way, and we are, going to crease it, crease it, crease it, crease it, crease it down. And it should be sticky and tacky enough to stay in that position. All right, but we're going to come back and just take our finger, because I like to feel that texture to make sure that it's in there really good. I'm going to do the same thing with here, and I can rub off all that excess glue that's no longer needed, okay? And see, don't be a problem child 1, but you see how it's stuck on there, and I'm not going to yank it off, okay? So in this instance, even though I'm trying to make I'm using 6x6, what I will do to finagle this to make it work how we want it to work is I will probably use a blank sheet of paper to put right there to make sure that I can just make it stick by putting something there. Or I could do like I did on another book is, you know, you can make your own little creases and put paper on top of there. So we could do that too. We will definitely check it out. But right now we're just coming back and applying pressure to all of the pages, and now we have a envelope book base. Okay, so we're going to stop right here and come back and do some covering. I want to say thank you all for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed. Until next time, happy crafting.